Well, we're joined now by Jamie Jenkins, former head of health analysis and labour market analysis at the Office for National Statistics. Thanks for joining us. You're the perfect man to talk about this. So, are we out of the woods yet, and can we move on?
Well, I think so, Alex. When you're looking at the data, we've definitely over this latest wave, because every time we're in the past, we've seen the rise in cases and then started seeing cases come back down. We've been coming down now for for over a week, which is positive news. There's some early signs in the data that cases might start leveling off, because if you remember back to the last spring and then in the autumn and the winter, we had these kind of national lockdowns that brought down cases, but we haven't had a national lockdown this time. We have had kind of the schools closing, which may be even effect because we saw something similar in Scotland. So I don't think we're going to see cases come dramatically down to, say, zero. But I think Welsh government have said they're going to basically stop having the pandemic going on in Wales this Saturday if you've had 2 jabs of the vaccine. So I'm not sure what Boris Johnson is doing in terms of waiting another week in England to do all of this. I think, the data is clearly showing that hospitalisations are a lot lower, deaths are a lot lower, cases are coming down, and we've got to embrace the vaccine rollout and kind of get on with things.
Why do you think there is a hesitancy to not do that? I mean, why wait the 2 weeks? Those statistics coming out from America look pretty conclusive. I mean, 99.999% is, well, you're the statistician, that's as good as 100%.
Yeah, I think part of the reason, Alex, for this is that if you look back at the vaccine rollout, we've had all of these kind of scaremongering tactics potentially of having, say, vaccine passports. The rate of vaccinations among younger people is lower than England than it is in Wales, because Wales kind of were ahead of the vaccine rollout. And I think part of the reason they've said we want to wait a few weeks is to get more and more people double jab. But they've had to make changes to the kind of the app now, where they're looking back 2 days rather than 5 days if you haven't got any symptoms. But the number of people who've been kind of pinged by the app, and remember, if you are pinged by the app, it's not a requirement to actually self-isolate. It's just kind of guidance. It's only if somebody contacts you, you should do that. I think they're changing this kind of the sensitivity of the app, which is an important thing. But remember, obviously, we've had 2 jabs for the majority of the population now for a while. We know younger people are much less likely to have a serious illness if they catch the virus. Sajid Javid recently as well kind of proves that if you have had 2 doses of the vaccine, you can still catch it. So I'm not sure why they're having these different policies. I think we just got to embrace the fact that over 90% of the population have got antibodies. It's time to kind of get on with things. I'm not sure waiting that extra week makes much sense. They're changing the app, but Wales are going ahead this Saturday. So I think it just makes more sense to, if you've had 2 jabs of the vaccine, just to stop having this self-isolation period immediately, basically.
Yeah, I mean, cases have hovered around the 20,000 mark for a while now, but at some points we've had about 500,000 people not at work being pinged by this app. Now, as someone who's both a statistician for both labour markets and health, do you think those correlate at all? I mean, surely it's either very overactive app being quite generous with its pings, or some people telling porkies out there. What's your read of the situation?
Well, the app's probably doing what the app was designed to do. It's just basically looking at kind of Bluetooth signals and how many people were close to you, and it probably identifies with you how many people you do come into close contact with on a daily basis. I think the problem with the app was it was designed many, many months ago, probably before we thought of this successful vaccine rollout that we've had. So having this kind of app in the business of pinging everybody and asking people to self-isolate without looking at all of that doesn't make much sense. And remember that, the economy needs to get going. You can't have all these people self-isolating. And remember, we've still got people on furlough, because that's kind of coming to an end over the next few months. The latest statistics there still had about 1.5 million people on kind of furlough, or just under 2 million as well. So we've still got a large number of people out of work. The app was designed to kind of stop the spread of the virus when we didn't have high levels of vaccination. Now we've got high levels of vaccination. Having this app asking kind of people who are not testing positive to self-isolate and asking them to do that just makes little sense whatsoever. If we're going to start getting the recovery going, we need people back in work. We need to, and it's not just the kind of the economy on this one, Alex, as well. Obviously, there was people in the NHS who were self-isolating because they've been pinged by the app. Now, they've changed the rules among those staff, but having rules for some parts of the economy and different rules for other parts of the economy kind of starts creating this 2-tier system, which makes little sense at all.
Now, there's gaping holes in the labour market. What is going on there? I mean, there are some people who say it's a result of Brexit, other people saying it's a result of chronic undertraining and things like HGV licences not being able to be distributed during lockdowns. But this is something that's being replicated in other countries, like America as well. So is this a case of people who, might have been furloughed not coming back, or people going back to their home countries, or people deciding they don't want to leave the house anymore and want to have jobs where they can work from home? What's going on?
Well, there's going to be a mix of all the different things that you've talked about there. I've heard some of the stories where people have gone on furlough they've gone back to, say, Europe when Brexit kicked in, and they haven't come back because obviously it's still difficult to travel even for kind of back and forth different parts of Europe with regards to the kind of the restriction on travel, etc. So we've still got those issues. I think forward planning is one of the things that needs doing better with regards to the labour market. We've got a number of job shortages in some parts of the economy, and then in other parts of the economy we've got a surplus of people. So getting that right mix and right balance of different people. When I worked at the ONS, one of the things that I was doing there was looking at kind of graduates going into work and how many kind of doing degrees, and I found a huge explosion of when Tony Blair came in 1997. We saw a huge rise in the number of graduates, and then 20 years later people were going into kind of jobs with degrees that 20 years earlier they didn't need degrees, because we had too many people who were qualifying from university with degrees, but we didn't need the kind of the supply of all the graduates. So I think going forward we got to get the balance right between, do we need as many people going to university? And remember, the pandemic's been kind of a tragic story for many students over the last year. You've had people who have been trying to do online education. They haven't been able to kind of have the experiences that you would normally have when you go to university, kind of socializing, etc. So it's been a very costly exercise, COVID, for the students. It's difficult as well, Alex, for some of these students because they graduate at a time where some firms are a bit hesitant of recruiting. So I think getting that balance in between the kind of the jobs that we're going to need in the future and the kind of the skills and the shortages that we've got is going to be really important and a key thing for the government as we move forward on this.
Jamie, thank you ever so much. And who better to give us a lowdown on what's going on than the ONS former head of statistics for health and the labour market?